Live and in color from the NBC News radio broadcasting studios of KCAA, 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, and 106.5 FM, located in beautiful Southern California, and in parallel from the Turfs Up radio studio in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Thanks for tuning in to the Water Zone show this evening.
All right, a pleasant afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world listening to the Water Zone. We appreciate you tuning in. I'm Rob Starr, along with some WOW people. And when I say wow, it's Women of Water, Miss Tara Malali, who is our co-host, and can't miss this lady, Miss Chris Ellen. She is an awesome, they call her the Maven of Water. But she's also a WOW woman, too.
So I have to say, I got a severe weather alert today because it's 85. And I just, coming from originally from the desert, where it's like, you don't get a severe weather alert until it's 140, it feels like. I was like, severe weather alert, it's 85 degrees. And in all fairness, on the coast, that's a big deal. So one of the things I wanted to talk today, right off the bat, is this heat wave that's hitting us hard.
It's a heat dome.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's massive. This is not supposed to be this hot in March. We're supposed to be in winter. And it's 79 degrees up here in the North State. And, this is going to just decimate what is left of the snowpack.
That doesn't seem like it's really a thing anymore. Like the snow, it's like a snow melt.
Yeah, the last time I crossed over the hill to Reno, there were a lot of brown spots up there, and now I imagine it's going to get even more. At least we won't have to worry about flooding. That happened, I think, back in, early 2000s or something. We had a massive big snowstorm in the Sierras, and then 2 days later we had this big heat wave. And it just caused all this flooding. Like in Reno, they had to move all their airplanes out to the middle of the runways because the airport was flooding in Reno. It doesn't really flood there a lot. Massive damage. So at least we won't have that, but we sure would like to have some snow in the to melt out over the summer, but that does not look like it's coming. And Dr. Daniel Swain, as reported in the article at SFGate, says, there will not be a miracle March.
No.
Not looking. No. An awesome April, but
El Nino is supposed to be wet potentially next year. Now we have kind of El Nino conditions, but that's been super unpredictable lately. El Nino is supposed to be dry, El Nino is supposed to be wet. But is that what? Yeah, what are your thoughts on that these days?
Well, the truth is that sometimes El Ninos are wet, sometimes not. Sometimes La Ninas are dry, and sometimes not. And I think it's slightly better trend that El Ninos might be wet, but not always. But La Ninas can be, they're more all over the map. And we had La Nina last year, and we had, lots and lots of rain in Southern California. El Nino is, we always like to look at them as this big, great, wet hope, but they've never really meant that.
The great wet hope.
Yeah, but that's never really, statistically it doesn't really work out that way. It's just really a crapshoot. And that's, mainly because California's weather is a crapshoot every year. It can be dry, we can have drought, we can have flood in the same year even, it can be really crazy. But yeah, this heat dome is not looking good. And it's not just here in the Sierra, it's all over the West. And this is just bringing up some really terrible, terrible numbers for the Colorado River Basin. And, they're trying to negotiate what they're going to do with these reservoirs that are circling the drain. And, I'm wondering when we will hear, the Trump administration really is going to have to make the call. People are still saying, well, we could still make a deal, yeah, but I mean, if they didn't make a deal in 2 years, it ain't going to get there. Someone's going to have to step in and make the call, and it's going to be painful. It's going to be painful for all, and maybe a little less painful for California, being that we have the oldest rights on the river. But I got to think, though, that it's going to be hard for everyone.
It's going to be hard out here in Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona's really in the crosshairs, and there's just no getting around that, unfortunately. It goes back to those, when there's lots of water, Arizona's like, well, sure, we just want the water. We're okay to be, junior rights, because you didn't really think it was ever going to get to this point. And, I mean, it's like these constructs that we make, and then years now they're like, well, now we do need that water. I mean, we did this in California too with the area of origin statutes that we have that said, yeah, we'll send the water down to Southern California, but if you need it, then we'll make sure you have the water you need. We'll send it. And now it goes down to Southern California, and these counties are going, we would like some water, and they're like, well, we kind of need it. I mean, the area of origin is not really doing much for those counties now. Like, Tuolumne County's really in sad shape because miners came up and appropriated all the water out of the county pretty much before any towns arrived, and then the towns are built, and people are like, how about some water? Well, it's all spoken for, going elsewhere. I mean, and that's really tough.
Well, and then you have, especially in the Tuolumne, you've got the whole the Chinook salmon issue, and that has its own needs and requirements.
Yep.
And then you can't agree on a voluntary settlement agreement. And so, anyway, sorry.
I go all over the place. While we're talking about the Tuolumne County, I think what's really amazing is that parts of Tuolumne County and parts of the Sierra Nevada mountains, water systems still run in open water flumes made of wood. Now they have some. They do now have some metal in them. They used to be all wood back in the miner days, but it's still the same system over 100 years ago delivering water to these cities. So, Tuolumne County had a problem in the snowstorm. The trees came down and knocked out their main canal, and they had to go in and rebuild it. But, open water flumes. Not everybody, has, every place has the latest and greatest.
Irrigation district's actually doing a 3-mile tunnel because they had open flume, and every year they'd have to clean it out from all the boulders falling in it, and that's dangerous and takes things offline. And then they had that landslide, and it happened right before season, which was terrifying for all the farmers downstream because that's all of the water for most of the San Joaquin Valley farmers, and that was terrifying. So they're like, okay, we're finally gonna tunnel it up, which is great. But that's not something that happens overnight. None of this stuff happens overnight.
Yeah, and it's amazing how much old infrastructure is still running around. I mean, there's still pipes transporting water in L.A. that are over 100 years old. They just haven't broke yet,
Toro, how's the agriculture up towards Point Mugu in your area?
So, as per usual, our strawberries are delicious, and I keep seeing Terry's berries. I know they're the best. It was so funny. I was up in a farmer's market in San Jose eating strawberries from Oxnard. I'm like,
they're the best. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Watsonville. Sorry, no.
Love you so much. My brother lives in Boulder Creek. And so he's always like, no, Santa Cruz, Salinas, we have the best. And I'm like,
Yeah, no. Now you realize that, we talk about this because we live in California and we have this here. But, you see strawberries, California strawberries in other parts. I remember, 10 years ago, I traveled with my husband up to Canada, and we're in some little store in Canada, and I'm going shopping with his daughter, and she's like, oh, some strawberries, and she picks up this little thing of California strawberries, and it was the saddest bunch of strawberries I did ever see. And I'm like, oh, Leanne, in California, those strawberries would be jam. Those
are
would not even count
like our
to go on the
leftover
table.
strawberries.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you all read and hear the president talk about the golden age is coming. And when it has, we got the golden mussels.
We do. You know, bears. And mussels make me think of power. I think we're right on target right there. Golden Tower.
What do you think they're going to do? I didn't realize that each one of those can lay a million larvae.
Oh my God, it's crazy. The villagers for them are, and they're so small. Yeah. They're like, I know we still want to turn them into like somehow like some sort of really expensive appetizer, but I don't think we have the capabilities here. But
the chemical there's one chemical that's been tested for years and it works, but nobody's really going after it really hard.
Well, I'll tell you this. I've been working today, and I'm still working on it. I haven't got through it all, but at one of the committee meetings at Metropolitan, they're talking about mussels and what they're doing because there's mussels in, the metropolitan system. And they've been fighting quagga mussels for a while, so they know there's quagga mussels in the Colorado River, and there's none on the other side. But golden mussels have just proliferated throughout the system. Some of the problems that Met has is that you have to think about the chemicals that you use. It depends on what the source water is. So there's a lot of organics in the water that comes from the state water project, so you get more disinfection byproducts that are bad, nasty stuff you can't use. So you have to find something that you can use in your system that isn't going to cause problems in the drinking water treatment. And it's different. So I'm getting now into the part where they're going to talk about their plan to address the mussels. So I'll be able to talk a little bit more about it next week. But I was surprised because once these, like Toro has been saying, they're just proliferating throughout the system in incredible ways. It's just amazing. There's not a problem for the distribution systems, to your house, and it's not a problem for your drinking water. It's still safe, but the mussels are really getting in there.
We're about to call it the Golden State Water Project.
Yeah. The size of these things are small, and they go through these pipes through the SWP, and it just makes it terrible. It just clogs, and it takes a long time to clean it out. And I know they were talking about some. Yeah, I know they were talking about some chemical that they said has been tested for 12 years and it's good, but who knows? I don't know if that's true or not. Good
until you ingest it, maybe.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, and
how good at killing them. Great.
How do you apply it, into this equipment, which is submerged in the water that's going to be drinking water? I mean, I know Metropolitan, they have they have their fish screens. They can, actually scrape the suckers off them, but I don't know. I'll have more answers next week.
If you can find out more about this thing called EarthTech QZ. That's supposed to be the chemical that they use.
EarthTech QZ. That sounds like so in college I did a project that was, we did a commercial for Sparkle XYZ, and it did everything from acting as a body deodorizer to fixing your car. So that's how that sounds like to me. I'm just going to be honest. So I'm hoping it works better than that fake commercial did when I was in college. But in the meantime, let's talk about these cows. I've seen so many articles about the dairy stuff, and I'm like, what is happening?
They're contaminating the fields.
Well, it's confined animal feeding operations or CAFOs or whatever, and it's something that we really never really talk about in California, but it turns out we have more of them than in any other part of the country, and they're very, very poorly regulated, which is, kind of sad and shocking and surprising all in one.
Well, if you've ever driven through Coalinga, it's not regulated.
Yeah, you pass the cow death camp, man. It's like, whoop, like you can smell the cows long before you see them. I mean, I'm rolling up the windows and sealing off the air conditioning system.
Circulate inside only.
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe we'll just have no fan for the next 2 miles. But yeah, all you can see for miles and miles are cows, and all you can smell for miles and miles afterwards is cows. Yes, it's like. And
they wanted to put bags on them.
That's weird. No.
But do you remember that? That was how they proposed that.
No. They're like, it works for dogs. And I'm like, it doesn't really work for dogs, though, either. Like, people do it, but just because you can.
And who's going to change the bags?
Yeah. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
No.
It just makes me think of Jurassic Park. They were so focused on whether or not they could. They didn't realize maybe they should.
Sounds like you wrote the article. Hey, I see they found.
So,
no, I was going to say, change subject. Another bad project going on. This PFAS pesticide residue found in 37% of conventionally grown California produce. So we only got plastic inside.
Oh well, we probably do too. We probably do if that plant was grown on soil that they covered in plastic, because the plastic disintegrates into the soil. I mean, so we're not out of the woods with that. I know I'm so cheery to talk about, but really, no one should be surprised at
I just feel like I am officially 47% PFAS. Like I just sort of given up on that idea. I know I shouldn't, and I should be positive. And fortunately, we don't have it here at United, which is wonderful, and I'm so excited about that. But it is like on every food wrapper. Like it's probably in the shirt I'm wearing because it's
in your
everywhere.
Fabric softener,
right?
It's in the ocean.
It's in your pans. Like it's everywhere. People focus on it in water, but it's in so much more than that. It's
same with microplastics. I mean, we're beginning to talk about it in water and how we might get it out of water, but it's just all over the place. It's even in groundwater now. So I mean, it's everywhere. The depressing thing is that all this stuff is out there and it's accumulating, and we're not doing anything about it. So that's a cheery thought. As we're rolling into drinking time, I really want to give you some good reasons.
Well, we're going to have a guy on in a couple of weeks who owns Deloche Industries. They make all kinds of stuff for water treatments and stuff, and they had videos I watched on how much PFAS comes out of people, and it was really weird to look at this. He had a finger, and it's covered with all of these things, all of this plastic stuff.
You're not helping, Rob.
No, but this is the stuff that the majority of people don't know. They know what PFAS is, if you ask the public, but they don't know how bad it is, just like the golden mussels or any of that. That's not the news that they want to hear every day, and it doesn't get reported.
And it just becomes this, like, PFAS is only in your water conversation, which is the one that's crazy to me, because I'm always about messaging for water, right? Like, that's my whole jam. And so it's like, no, guys, we got to get it out of everything else before, like, not before, but in conjunction with water. Like, it's not just in this one space. And therefore, if you just don't drink water, you're not ingesting PFAS. Because a lot of people are doing that. Like, they're getting, like, these crazy, like a whole reverse osmosis machine to take the PFAS out of the water, which is great, except for you're still going to McDonald's and getting your wrapper with the PFAS on it and eating that instead. Like, you're still buying, your parka jacket with your water resistant coating, your Gore-Tex situation, and it's got PFAS on it. So, like, those things all have to work together, and we're still not addressing the root of the PFAS issue. Like, there's still manufacturing with PFAS.
And they have no intention to stop. They say
or
they
change,
can't.
Right.
They say there's no alternative. So we continue, So I don't know what that means. But hey, I do have some good news.
Yay!
How about some good news?
We love
The good
that.
news is that we're going to have a salmon season this year. So wherever Chris Davy is, he's probably saying yay and cracking that beer. Yes, finally, after 3 years, we will have a salmon season. Now, it is all very technical thing, but so I can't really explain to you what these are because I'm not quite sure I understand. They have they include areas of longitude and latitude and places I don't know, but it does mean though we are going to have a salmon season because all the 3 options that they're considering, none of them is no salmon fishing. So yay, folks!
So the sport fishers must be ecstatic.
Well, commercial fishers too, but both there'll be recreational opportunities on the rivers too. So, yay!
That's a good thing. And to end it all, you had a good article about reef safe. California's move
we
to
knew
restrict...
it was never really reef safe. It means to never be on the freaking bottle in the first place.
Well, they want to have them corrected the inaccuracy of the label where it says reef safe or reef friendly and marine life safe and all of this other stuff. And I don't know, everything that we eat, we touch, we drink is something bad with us. It's crazy. Well, absolutely crazy.
Probably, yeah. And I mean, what's interesting to me about this story is that, for the longest time, we never, no one ever really even talked about sunscreen. But, you put it on, you go and get in the water, and you can see, like, the little slick, going into the water. But it took a long time for people to consider what exactly does that mean. Putting chemicals into a body of water, that's never a good thing. On the other hand, frying yourself into little, red lobsters, well, that's not a good thing either. So I don't know how you balance the two, But
I think it's disingenuous for them to use it as a marketing ploy.
Oh, yes.
That you buy their brand over the other not reef safe version when neither one of them is actually reef. You're going to have to make some compromises, whether or not you want skin cancer or you don't, all of that stuff. That's a personal decision. But
certainly,
I find it weird that the Food and Drug Administration didn't say, show me your data before you label this. It should be a requirement.
You're surprised?
No, I'm not, but this is what's happening. I mean, look. We can sit here for days and talk about all the issues that occur, like these things we talked about today with the mussels and the cows and this and that. It doesn't stop.
It never will. As long as we're on this earth, humans create solutions and make issues. Like, that's what we do.
Yeah, and we got a lot of those.
Well, how many times do they release drugs that it's been tested? Do you remember Benfen?
Oh my gosh!
For weight loss,
so
everybody took it, and then years later, guess what? You're sick.
They Ozempic themselves? Oh, sorry, that's just the new one.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, everybody runs in because they hear these things on the marketing terms of them. They rush out, they get them, or they get this new one. What is it? He says it's I forget the name of it. They have like a not a gorilla, but some guy said, "Oh, I can micro." I forget what brand they advertise. Noom or something like that.
Oh,
where you get injected and you can do micro dosing and stuff like this. But you don't know until years later that you're going to get really sick or could get really, really sick. That's a scary thing. Anyhow.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely causing people to lose. It's doing the thing it promised it would do. It's just, what's the consequence of that? There's got to be some, and I've seen some of it.
Well, I want to put money up to have Chris Austin go to Sacramento and be an advocator. You'd be good at that.
What, for GLP-1s?
Yeah.
What are you trying to say?
No, we love you. We wouldn't do anything back for him. But you'd be a good.
Holy HIPAA violation. What are you saying?
No, I just know no part of you wants to go to Sacramento and argue for anything. You're like, I do enough by telling people what's going on. I do my part.
You do your part. Well, Chris, we thank you for coming on every week, and we do appreciate it. To all our listeners, as I always say, every show, please go to mavensnotebook.com, become a subscriber, get all the information about water every single day on your PC, on your laptop, on your phone, whatever. It's a great thing to do it. I read it every day, and I love it. And been doing that for, God knows, 10 years. And if you care to be a sponsor, you can also send a little bit of a surprise to her and can have that contributing in to all the work that she does. And we do appreciate it because she knows a heck of a lot more people than we do. And they talk to her faster than they talk to us. But she gets the inside scoop. So, Chris, thank you very much again.
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. And we're going to be back with our special guest, and it's going to be a great conversation. Looking forward to this. So stick around for the second half. We'll be back after these commercial breaks.
KCAA. Water is one of the biggest expenses for communities, HOAs, universities, golf courses, and resorts. So keeping those costs under control, especially when rates are increasing while water supplies are being reduced, are often essential to a customer's survival. Managing water requires multiple skills, which is why it's been complicated and difficult until now. AquaTrack brings multiple skills and technologies together to help large system users conserve outdoor water and improve the health of their landscapes. AquaTrack's professionals are certified landscape water managers and certified landscape irrigation auditors. The company offers audit services, upgrade advice, technical expertise, and water use monitoring. We already manage irrigation water for the largest homeowner associations in Arizona, and we're prepared to bring our knowledge and experience to help others, including landscapers and designers. Give us a call and hear how AquaTrack saved one HOA some 430 million gallons of water and $200,000 in annual water expenses. AquaTrack is Arizona-based, and you can reach us at 623-594-8689. That's 623-594-8689.
Take control of your business anywhere, anytime with the SiteOne mobile app. Designed for contractors on the go, the app keeps you connected to your account wherever the job takes you. When you're signed in, you get full visibility into your personal account without needing a computer. Check your contractor-specific pricing. See real-time inventory, create custom lists, and reorder from your product history or saved lists in just a few taps. Scanning QR codes makes managing products even easier. You can quickly add items to a list, view product details, or add them to your cart in an instant. Need to approve a quote or pay a bill? You can do it right from your phone. Track your orders, view invoices, even redeem your partner's program points for rewards that give back to your business. Plan smarter with built-in project calculators that save time and help you quote with confidence. Logging in is quick and secure. Use Face ID or Touch ID for instant access. Customize your experience by choosing your preferred language in English or Spanish. Looking to level up your knowledge? Browse, learn, and explore videos and articles, or find local events to stay connected with your SiteOne community. The SiteOne mobile app puts the power of your business in your pocket.
All right, so welcome back to the second half of the Water Zone. I'm Rob Starr, along with Ms. Tara Maloney, and hope everybody's having a great day today. And it's warm out here on the West Coast. I'm in Phoenix, but it's still 88 degrees, and we're seeing that dome of heat coming. Anyway, we have our next guest. His name is Sidian Kaufman. He's the founder of Pure Water Northwest, where he helps homeowners, families, and communities take control of their water quality using science-backed practical solutions. And with years of hands-on experience in water treatment and a passion for public education, Sidian has guided clients across the Pacific Northwest through challenges like industrial runoff, high iron levels, bacteria contamination, arsenic, iron bacteria, and even mysterious health issues tied to hidden toxins. And that's why he's unafraid to tackle complex and that, well, I got to say, often controversial topics like fluoride, PFAS, like we were just talking about, structured water, and hydrogenated water. And he cuts through the myths and misinformation to deliver clear, actionable insights. So I'd like to welcome Sidian Kaufman to the Water Zone. Welcome, Sidian.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Oh, we appreciate it. And just for listeners, though, you and I talked the other day, and it was exciting. And when I went online to look at how many videos you did on all different subjects, and I was very impressed by that. But why don't you give a little bit on? Because we always like to ask is, how did you get started in the water industry? We always like to know how people ended up there.
Yeah, it was pretty personal for me. My daughter actually. I know usually people think of water as something that's concerning when you're ingesting it, but for my daughter, it was actually causing her eczema. Seattle, where we lived at the time, is considered to have very soft water, and they have a hardness of about 2 on average, and she was still getting eczema, so I put in a softener, and despite it having such low hardness, the softener reduced the hardness even more, got it down to a level that she doesn't have any eczema problems anymore. And that kind of blew my mind so much that it just got me fixated on water quality, water science, water treatment, and I've been doing it ever since.
What do you see as the biggest thing in because you take care of both consumer and commercial places? Tell us what you're big for. What's the biggest interest that you have going in business that you run through there?
Well, I mean, you guys just talked about PFAS. Forever Chems are one of the biggest things that consumers are asking us about right now. But that is more recent over the last couple years. For obvious reasons. I mean, 75% of human exposure to forever chemicals is from water, according to a recent study by the EPA. And that level of exposure is pretty high, especially when you consider there's 12,000 kinds of PFAS or more, and there are about 6 different kinds that are actually looked at heavily. The rest of them are still not fully studied, fully explored, or fully understood. And then the effects of PFAS continue to change. Like we continue to have emerging ideas about what the actual potential harm from PFAS is. So people get, when they hear, oh, it might actually stunt my kid's growth, it might actually affect my pregnancy, or it might not, they really just get concerned and they want to reach out and get some what is now pretty easy remediation for PFAS. Before we weren't 100% sure how to remediate it. Now I can do it whole house or point of use very, very easily.
So which of your systems is the PFAS addressing system?
Well, honestly, we do not specifically have like off-the-shelf systems. The technology that addresses PFAS is reverse osmosis very cleanly, obviously. That's going to easily hit PFAS, whether it's long-chain or short-chain PFAS. But if we want whole house filtration that is not crazy expensive, like with reverse osmosis, we're going to target long-chain PFAS with carbon, and we're going to target short-chain PFAS with anion resin. So whatever we're going to do for someone in their home, we're going to customize based on the water quality reports. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So what do you do with your anion resin once it's the media's been used?
Well, we just make sure we're using an anion resin that can actually be self-cleaned. But what that means is, yes, whether or not any remediation that we or anyone else is using is going to put whatever they're pulling out back into the earth at some point. So it's going to go down the drain or it's going to go into a landfill. We tend to go for self-cleaning systems so that they can be washed off, acid washed if needed, and then flushed down the drain.
So basically, like at some point, you guys would go back in and acid wash the resin, or have? Because by the way,
No.
I'm in the water industry, so I know about these treatment projects, and so that's why I'm asking kind of these more technical questions, because I just want to understand a little bit more about how that works.
Yeah, no, we're not acid washing unless needed. So we try and identify whether or not there's things that are going to be bound to the anion resin, which frequently requires us to do cation ahead of time so we don't get a divalent chain on the media. So our most effective method would be a system that has cation, carbon, and anion all in one system with mid plates till we prevent mixing and coagulation. And then every single thing is backwashed with salt. I mean, we're using sodium for the cation and chlorides for the anion to pull the contaminants off the media. And the acid washing would only, be if needed, like after a year of doing that, we need to go in and acid wash. Frequently, though, we will just add a res care, but kind of a resin cleaner, which is an acid, into the brine tank so that would do the job of chelating off the compounds that may be binding to the anion resin.
Cool. So one thing and the reason why I asked that question is because one of the things that of a concern within the industry is, especially with anion exchange, they've got this media that then they have to go and kind of truck it away. So I was wondering, and then they have to get it treated so that the ions come off, because it's a whole big attachment process with the ions. So that's why I was wondering how you guys were dealing with that, because I know that that's an issue within our, we're not sure what to do with the PFAS from that point sometimes. So, and I've heard that might be an issue. So I was just wondering how you guys were addressing that. And it sounds like it kind of just goes down the drain, right? Yep,
exactly. Okay. Which is, of course, for sustainability purposes, I mean, we're already sitting at 1% of water, Earth's water, is actually available and accessible for humans. Yep. So we are chipping away at that very slowly, right? And definitely there is going to have to be a future where we have a better solution than this. But at this point, trying to keep this out of people's bodies, this is what we found is the best so far.
A lot of houses out here in Arizona have both a reverse osmosis system. They also have a water softener. And big issue here, you see a lot of chlorine that's just hard to get out, and fluoride and other stuff that's in it. Where do you see that part of the industry going down the road? Because there's so many companies coming out and saying they have this that's a super machine and it does, I've seen things. We've had people on the show who have used magnetic technology to clean the water. Then they have some that come and do other things. And I'm sure they're smart, and they were smart people. But has anybody realized what's the biggest issue with home water? We'll start with the home water stuff, and then we can talk commercial stuff on that. How does that work with you guys? I mean, do you see a big push towards one technology more than another? I guess is what I'm asking.
You mean, do our consumers ask for certain technologies and we start noticing that more and more?
I don't. Well, I would bet that you know more than the customer knows, because most homeowners don't understand anything. They go through Costco and they see a machine, or they hear a commercial that, hey, we sell you this and this and that. And,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, what we run into a lot of is latest trends, counter educating against latest trends. I try and keep an open mind about everything. So when people talk about, say, structured water, I go ahead and I go research it really thoroughly, even though just on its face structured water seems like nonsense. Mm-hmm. And so I try and do what's called steel manning, which is like the opposite of straw man. I'm trying to say, okay, so let's see how this could possibly be right. And so when I do that with something like structured water, I get that the guy over here in the University of Washington who kind of invented the concept recently, at least reinvented the concept recently, he even says in his book, The Fourth Stage of Water, that he doesn't see a way that anyone could drink structured water and have it retain its structure,
right.
Which is kind of obvious if you think about it.
That was Dr. George Pollack, wasn't it?
That's the guy. Yep.
He's been on our show, and we talked about that, and then another company called Signal Relief Patch. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I haven't.
I guess they use that technology because Dr. Pollack said the water inside of us is a negative electrical charge, and this other company took that technology, or using similar technology, to make this thing that looks like a mouse pad and has like an antenna embedded in silver on top of this pad, and then the other part touches your body, and it actually relieves pain. And everybody thought it was a joke, but it really isn't. It really works. I have a daughter that had a serious disease called Guillain-Barré, where she lost feelings in her bottom of her feet and hands and stuff, and the extreme pain, and put it on. They sent me some samples before they came on the show, because I wanted to, I didn't know if it was a fake or what, and gave it to my neighbor who plays golf, and he put it on his back, and another guy put it on his knee, and the thing really works. It's amazing how they figured that out. And Pollack had got a new book out. I got an order in for it, but he was a super guy on our show.
That's cool. Whenever I hear something like that, I always think of the delta between the scientific community and the exploratory science community, the community who are on the fringes. And what I realized, I went back actually and did a very careful, in-depth inspection of all of the what people would call quack sciences that ended up being true. And there is definitely a percentage of them that science called nonsense, but they ended up being reality. It isn't a high percentage, but it's definitely true that science gets it wrong on when it denies things, an amount that is non-statistically irrelevant. It is statistically interesting. So the other stuff that we run into a lot in the area is arsenic, because the Department of Ecology has arsenic all over Washington State, much more than many other states. And then we have a lot of people asking about fluorides and iron bacteria is another thing we have up here a lot. So those four things are probably our most common things we run into that are a little different from other states. But yeah, we focus on anything that comes up, though.
There's a new shower head that they're selling on television called Jolie. Has anybody seen that? Tara, have you seen that?
No.
And it says it takes.
Who watches television anymore? I'm streaming all the time.
Well, they stream it too. So, but it's supposed to make your hair cleaner and fine, and helps get rid of prevents eczema and stuff like that. So again, that's what we said at the beginning of the show. There's lots of things that come out and say we got this, this, and this, and you got to try it and see if it's real or not. I don't know.
Our company goes through and actually tests a lot of these products. We specifically tested the Jolie shower head, actually.
Oh.
And yeah, I know about that product. We tested it. And the thing is, every single one of these products has there are three categories for any product you're going to look at. And you have to consider all three of these. And if you don't, you are exposing yourself to some sort of potential trickery or shenanigans. The first category you have to think of is how long can the first category, I guess, would be, does it work at all? Second would be, how long can it work for? And the third is, at what speed can it work? So most showers have the problem of being, and baths have the problem of being the highest flow, the highest amount of water, the most water you're going to pour through for the longest period of time in your house. Maybe your washer, it kind of depends on how long you take a shower for. But so if you're sitting there saying, all right, will this get chlorine off my skin? Yes, it will. How many showers will it do it for? When we did our test, it was maybe 30 showers max. So the filter replacement time frame of 6 months that I think they put as their average is definitely unrealistic.
Well, I mean, unless you only shower once a week, and then you're totally fine.
Yep, exactly. Then you could shower once a week. The reality, too, it depends on how long you do your showers for, how many people are in your house. There are so many factors, and almost every single shower head filter cannot possibly keep up because the volume and the size of that media must be smaller than is needed for the amount of water usage.
I just imagine like the timer for your, we do the showers timers, right? So that we don't waste water. The shower timer for that head would have to be like seconds, just like 10-second shower time.
Exactly. That's right.
Well, a lot of these, I call them solid state water heated, the tankless ones.
Oh, yeah.
They put them in all the new houses. The problem is if you're in a heavy calcium district of water, it just tears it apart. And those it's a lot more money to buy those puppies than it is to do the other one. I mean, to come and do a flush, I paid, I guess I'm complaining, it was $360 for them to come do a flush on that tankless water heater.
You never run out of hot water.
Oh. But it takes longer to get to certain places in the house because they don't put it close to where you use it.
That's true.
That's why you need a recirculation loop.
Yeah.
You just turn on the water. It's just hot. It's just warm. It's just delicious. I love that for us.
Yeah.
So do you do? One question I had was: do you always do like a whole house system, or do you like, for example, my mom has a reverse osmosis, but it only like one spigot, and just like so she just uses it for like drinking and like pasta and all of that stuff versus like what goes on her skin. Is that, and then she's got a water softener for the house. Does that tend to be pretty popular, or is it more the whole system? I mean, a reverse osmosis system for your whole house sounds very pricey.
Yeah, it's $30,000. Definitely pricey. I mean, you can get them for $6,000, but they usually do not work properly at.
No, why would you do that? If you're paranoid enough about your water that you want a reverse osmosis machine, like do the right one.
That's right. Yeah, but under the counter, you can get those for $200 on Amazon, and RO technology is RO technology. That one might leak on you, and the membrane may go bad a little bit faster, but RO technology is, like I say, RO technology. So you can get those $200 ones off Amazon, put them at your counter, and have a single point of use that is dramatically better than any water that's coming out of your tap. Why I push whole home is just a personal bias for me for what is the unknowns about how water affects people's skin. And that may be because of my own story with my daughter. But
well, I bet your skin's amazing.
Yeah. perhaps. I mean, I guess so. But the reality is, I would rather just talk to people and find out what they actually need. So if they have little kids who are likely to go around and drink water and the water is not great, then I would definitely push more whole home. But I like to do a test. I like to do a test and find out. I need to know not just what chlorine is used, but how many chloramines are used, how many chlorine byproducts. Like, am I going to see dibromochloromethane, haloacetic acids, trihalomethanes, chloroforms, all in the city water? Am I going to see
and it depends on what part of the pipeline you're in. And so if you've got the water quality report, you know what's in the city water, but I know that doesn't necessarily mean you know what's coming out of your tap, because pipes are different too.
It definitely doesn't. I mean, you've probably done, I don't know if you both have, but you've probably done a free chlorine test before. And when I say free chlorine, I mean chlorine that has not been bound to a bacteria or oxidized metal. Or
I thought you meant
like that, right?
chlorine I received for free. A free chlorine test. I mean, I haven't, but I'm sure they exist.
Non-oxidized something. So chlorine, as you know, its job is to oxidize, it's great. I'm a big fan of chlorine. I'm just not a big fan of drinking chlorine or having it on my skin. Without chlorine, we would all have a lot more deaths than we have right now, for sure. But if I go to somebody's house and I draw water, and I know 100% they have chlorine, I can sometimes if I draw water right away and I take the very first draw, I will get no chlorine doing a free chlorine test. And I'm like, how interesting. And I show the customer, and I'm like, okay, watch this. And then I run the water for just a couple minutes, and I do the exact same test again, and it turns bright yellow. And that is because between the pipes outside and the house, that chlorine has oxidized enough stuff that all of the free chlorine is gone. Every bit of it has been converted into a dibromochloromethane, a haloacetic acid, a trihalomethanes, something that is a combined chlorine.
Wow. Well, we're coming up against our NBC News we got to turn over to. City, and it was really interesting talking to you the other day and today. And maybe you can give your website and people go to YouTube and watch these videos that he's made. It's incredible. You learn a lot. It's very interesting. It really is intriguing to me. So I appreciate it. So how can they reach you?
I mean, we have a website, purewaternorthwest.com. I try and do training webinars like once a month, so people can call the company to sign up for those. They're free. And we have a phone number, 360-908-8947. You guys can call, reach out anytime, ask for me or whatever you need. We do nationwide consulting for people, so whatever you need, we're happy to help.
Great. Thank you, Sidian, very much. I'm glad I met you. I'm glad, like I said, I watched your videos. I didn't watch them all because you had a lot of them. I got to go back and look at some of the other ones, but it was really interesting. Thank you for enlightening our audience. That's a lot of stuff that I'm sure that they didn't know about, and I didn't know about. So I'm very excited about that. So thank you very much for joining us on the Water Zone.
Thank you.
All right. Well, everybody, there's people who know what they're doing and people who don't know what they're doing. And this gentleman knows this stuff, pretty smart guy, and done a lot of good things. So you got to see the videos. They're really incredible. A lot of information on his website technically that will help you get smarter when you're looking at all these kind of things. So it's time to go. We got to wrap it up for NBC News. We'll be back next week. Everybody have a good, safe week. And remember, if you like green, you got to have blue. So good night, everybody.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda, sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future.